For 162 years, the basic principles of sailing in the America's Cup remained the same. One person would steer the boat, the rest of the crew would handle the sails. And then came foiling. In no time it was clear that this changed everything. Because overnight, sailing a modern cup boat became the ultimate balancing act. And no one found it easy. But now, a decade later and 3 cup cycles down the line, foiling is where it's at. With thousands of hours under their belts, crews have got very good at it, and the knowledge is spreading. But how? As well as being a required part of this cup cycle, the AC40 is helping to accelerate the learning, both inside the cup and in the broader Grand Prix sailing world. In the previous episode, Emirates Team New Zealand coach and sailor Ray Davies outlined what makes this boat tick. This time, he explains in more detail how crews handle these sophisticated flying machines. We also talked to foiling expert and class manager Luca Rizzotti about why the AC40 is an important boat outside the America's Cup. Plus, I get to have a go. Stroking your tummy and patting your head at the same time. We've all tried it with varying degrees of success. But when foiling arrived in the America's Cup scene, it was much the same thing for the crews. Learning how to balance a high-performance boat that's travelling at a pace that will get you a speeding ticket ashore while still maintaining control is not easy. But under the skin, the AC40 is a very advanced boat that has helped crews get up to speed quickly. Ray Davies explains how. How much can you sail this boat through feel? I mean, yes, you've got the numbers there, but how long does it take before you can actually feel?
Really, for anyone who sails this, they're obviously a sailor anyway, so they can look at the water and tell which way the wind's coming from, and looking at the waves. And that, you know, like just for sailing the boat and the feel, obviously you feel the wind's pretty much always coming from about 18 degrees, whether you're upwind or downwind. But you can just see, you can tell if you're going upwind or not. You can tell how close to the wind. You've got your jib, the woolies are right there. So you're looking at all the normal things would be your normal cues. Basically, very, very easy. You're just looking at the 2 woolies and then deciding where you want to go, you know, upwind, downwind, bearing away. And yeah, there's sort of a bit of a power band as you bear away. And you don't want to get committed into some reaching angles. It's much easier to be upwind or downwind. So yeah, you pick those angles, and then yeah, of course we can reach and do all of that, but it's just a little bit more challenging for the trimmers, but that's absolutely fine too. So you just, yeah, rip around, point wherever you want. Very, very important is the communication between the 4. So you've got your helmet on, headset, communication, you sort of shut down all the other noise around, and just having a chat. So the dialogue is important from the trimmers to sort of say how much power they got, and you know, if you can sail deeper downwind or not, or I'm on the edge, no lower than this. You feel it pretty quickly if you're sailing too low and you run out of power. Obviously, you know, start leaning to windward, and then it's the natural thing to turn up and hook up that power. If you turn up too far, well then the main sheet trimmer's easing the traveller down, then you'll see it on your bar graph. He'll say, look, you know, you can go deeper if you want. So it becomes really, really natural, really quick. That angle of heel is your cue. And yeah, the trimmer just helps to talk about where he's at with his power settings.
And so downwind it is the same as a high performance boat, and gust hits you, you'll tend to bear off a little bit if
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you peel off and get carted off downwind, and yeah, pretty much all the gusts are all downwind of you. You're leaving everything behind. It's all
I would
history.
imagine the big difference is that what I noticed on the multi-hulls, the big difference is that when you do get hit by a gust,
Yeah.
the boat accelerates so much faster when
Yeah.
you're on foils than when you're actually in displacement mode, that actually you don't end up bearing off that much because you're generating more, because you're going faster, you generate more lift from the foils
Yep.
and you get more stability. I guess that's the same with this, is it?
No, it's exactly the same. You just generate more speed. There's the old saying, never chase a dying breeze. Well, that's not the case anymore. We can chase a dying breeze and catch up to it.
Well, it's certainly it's absolutely fascinating. It's really quite snug. It's actually, you know, in that nosedive that you guys did
Yeah,
a little while
yeah.
ago, that looked pretty dramatic. Do you have, I mean, what's to stop you being thrown forward in
No,
it? Holding onto the
you know,
wheel
you're
of
holding
the
on. You
boat.
have a good feel, like it's really sturdy. So you're holding on to that, and you know, you just embrace your feet can
Yeah. Actually,
be
I've got a
touching the
big-
front of the cockpit.
Yeah.
It's compared to any other boat, you know, you're locked in.
But what does all this mean for the future? Luca Rizzotti is an expert on foiling. As well as being the founder of the Foiling Week in Lake Garda, he's closely involved in many other aspects of foiling, which made him the perfect choice as class manager for the AC40. So, aside from the America's Cup, where does he think this is all heading? How big a deal is the AC40? Where does that sit? Is this a leading edge piece of technology?
What is unique is the one design thing. It's a completely new proposition. Never before a boat that was made for the Cup has been made available for the outside public with the intention of running races and to form a class. Of course, there was in the past other, let's say, boats that were used for the America's Cup World Series, like the catamarans before the AC45. But there was never back then the intention of using them in an organized way. So that's what's new, is that there is an organization now behind it that wants to help the class to grow by adding new teams. The flight control system is so honed and working well. That's what I hear from everyone stepping on the boat. That is the best flight control they have ever experienced. This makes it usable by a wider public compared to the type of boats that were available in the past. And this certainly had made an impact on deciding that was possible to bring this boat to make a circuit that is open to owner drivers and other teams. So, for example, one thing that we will do as a class is for the new teams that are coming to compete, we will set, let's say, minimum hours that they need to have on a simulator before they can participate on the race course with the others. And of course, we will facilitate the use of the simulator that Team New Zealand has developed.
And this is one of those simulators. Luca, this is what you were talking about, isn't it?
Yes, Matt, it's exactly one of those. It's one of the simulators that Emirates Team New Zealand uses for training the crew. It has the capacity of 4 people on board, exactly the same as an AC40.
So 2 helms people,
2 helms,
2 trimmers.
2 trimmers on the back. The simulator has full capacity to also go online and do match racing with another simulator. And all the teams that are in the Cup and the Youth America's Cup are using this simulator as we speak.
And they've been using it for some time, haven't they, from what I hear?
And I think the first ones were delivered 4 or 5 months ago, so there's already been quite some time. We have here at Matstrade some of the guys from Dutch Sail, of course, being local, that come and help us doing the using the simulator with the visitors. But so far it's been good, and I think it is it's in a mode that is easy for the visitors to use, less complicated, of course, than the full-on race simulator, but the capacity is there.
How much time does this take out of having to do it on the water, do you think?
Well, going in the water is always the best way. but it is possible to train very well with the simulators. The aviation industry is telling us that you can certify an airline pilot by using a simulator.
Do you think this is the way it's going to go forward in other areas of foiling? I mean, it's obviously a very expensive device to create.
It is, let's say, Gombok, which is Santo Zero, which is the developer of this simulation tool, can certainly develop similar tools even for smaller boats. I would say it is quite possible that in the future we will see this kind of simulators in Olympic classes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like any computer game, concentration is the key to success. And while the steering wheels have feedback that replicate the feel of the rudder, the physical sensation of the ride for the crew is still
2
missing.
seconds.
In some ways, this makes it harder and means focusing on the numbers is even more important.
The target is 45,
Okay.
58.
Okay, coming up.
On target. Speed on target.
Oh, I could have squeezed around there, couldn't I?
Because wherever they may have come from in the sailing world, handling an AC-40 is a very different experience, and one where getting your head in tune with a fast-moving set of numbers is crucial.
Pressure to the left. That's right.
Fine. I mean, I'd call that a success.
Let's call it it was a nice ride.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you.
I don't understand why they don't want to hire us.
The coach.
But for all the sophistication and simulation that is allowing teams to get to grips with this new way of sailing, sometimes things don't go according to plan. Capsizing is a relatively new thing in the America's Cup, but it has also become quite commonplace. Because these boats don't have any keels, they need their foils to keep them upright, and that means going quickly. Just as it gets harder to balance on a bicycle the slower you ride, the same is true of a modern America's Cup boat. So, after more than 170 years of technical development, the risk of going for an unexpected swim in the America's Cup has become a reality.
A sustainable future. Yanmar.